Welcome to the 10th edition of the CRO Race here in Croatia. 6 stages of racing, over 900 kilometers in total, 925 kilometers of racing across the 6 stages. Today, stage 1 taking the riders from Split to Sinj, 162.5 kilometers of racing, 1,910 meters of elevation. 3 intermediate sprints for the riders. The first of those at Omiš, then into Trill and in Sinj. There's Diocletian's Palace in Split. A wonderful place to go and visit if you're ever in the city. It's a very old city indeed, so many beautiful things to see. There's the Mesterovic Gallery, beautiful manicured gardens right down onto the coastline. Well, there was a good atmosphere, a good vibe at the start in Split. There's one of the 6 pro teams. That was Solution Tech Vinny Fantini. The Ineos Grenadiers, well, they've got a big opportunity, a big chance with Ben Turner just on the right-hand side there, a stage winner in the WorldTour España to Varon. There's the Dutch champion, Danny van Poppel of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. He's got a keen eye on today's finishing scene. There's Julius Johansson, Vladimir Holjovic, the race director of the CRO Race, and UAE Team Emirates XRG, they've got the defending champion. There he is with the pink glasses. That's Brandon McNulty, the defending champion of the overall general classification. Okay, B&B Hotels, their roster is made up of a number of riders from their continental team and from the World Tour team. And there's one of the Croatian riders, Vladimir Holjovic of Bahrain Victorious, racing in the World Tour. Will be rollouts. They've got a neutralised start of 5 kilometres. Visiting Rijeka on stage 3. As I initially said, from Gospic to Rijeka. 7 World Tour teams who are here: UAE Team Emirates, XRG, Arcadia B&B Hotels, Bahrain Victorious, Ineos Grenadiers, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, Soudal Quickstep and Jayco Alula. 6 pro teams and 7 continental teams, and several of those continental teams are wanting to try and get themselves in a position that when the flag is waved, they can get themselves up the road, get themselves into the breakaway and try and figure, because there's a lot on offer on stage 1, 3 intermediate sprints, 2 quick King of the Mountains. There's the Marianne Forest Park viewpoint, wonderful views over Split and over the coastline. It's a good old hike up there. There's the Jian Beach, one of the most popular beaches in all of Split. Beautiful coastline, wonderful waters. Well, this is the route for today's stage, starting in Split through the first intermediate sprint in Omiš. The Category 2 King of the Mountain is 5 kilometres long at Gata. They'll crest the top, there'll be 5 points on offer. Then they'll wind their way through, past the mountains, start to make their way towards Trill, the next intermediate sprint location, heading towards Sinj, the finish line. They'll go through the old part of Sinj, out the other side. They'll track the river up to the other side of Vrljica, down the other side where they're going to have a headwind into Moronis, and then they'll hang a right-hand turn and head back towards Sinj. They've got that Category 3 King of the Mountain that comes towards the back end of the stage. And so a lot is on offer. Well, the flag is waved and immediately there are riders wanting to try and form a breakaway. Plenty of riders, different teams represented so far. There's the amphitheatre in Solona. So much entertainment has taken place over thousands of years. And this is where the entertainment is today. Here at the CRO Race, Diego Orate taking the points of the intermediate sprint in Omish ahead of Ibanez and Spoljar. 7 riders in that breakaway. Diego Orate of Equipo Kern Pharma, Javier Ibanez of CRO Race Seguros RGA, Jakob Spoljar, the rider from Slovenia of Adria Mobil, as well as Mateusz Konstanski, Michal Schuren, Ian Perrin and Casper van der Werve. And this is the mouth of the river Cetina, which goes all the way towards Sinj itself. Over the top of the Category 2 King of the Mountain, the first King of the Mountain of the day at Gata. Schuren taking the 6th, van der Werve taking 4, Konstanski taking the 2. The gap to the peloton is over 4 minutes. They've been working well together, the 7 riders. They've established a good advantage. They've got good cohesion, worked well together. They have been fighting and battling it out for what's been on offer so far. Past the sports court on the right-hand side, making their way through this little village into the next intermediate sprint in Trill. 97 kilometers remain, and it's Ibanez who is trying to fight and jostle for the points. But coming through is the rider from Equipo Kern Pharma. That is Diego Orate, the 23-year-old, who nabs the points from Ibanez. It's Konstanski who settles for 3rd place. He takes 1 point and 1 bonus second. That means that Orate so far has got 10 points in the points classification and has 6 seconds towards the general classification. A good performance so far from this 23-year-old Basque rider. Into Sinj, they take the sweeping right-hand corner into the sweeping left-hand corner. It's going to be a long drag, slightly uphill into this 3rd and final intermediate sprint of the day. Well, no challenge to Orate. He goes through, he takes the maximum points ahead of Ibanez. And Ian Perrin, the 19-year-old Croatian rider from Rijeka, taking the 1 point and the 1 bonus second. He's the rider in that gold and black jersey for Poggi team Ljubljana Gusto. 6 riders remain in the breakaway. It was all getting a little bit too much for Jakob Spoljar of Adria Mobil. The 22-year-old Slovenian has been dropped and distanced from the breakaway, leaving 6 riders, Orate, Ibanez, as well as Konstanski. He's the rider in the lime green jersey in the white top half, number 183. Ian Perrin in the gold and black jersey, number 156. That's Casper van der Werve, the Dutchman from Metek Solowat. Mantel comes from Utrecht in the Netherlands. And right at the back, number 174, that's the rider from Czechia, Michal Schuren, the 29-year-old rider from Team United Shipping, the Hungarian registered team. This is the airbase at Sinj. You can do skydiving there, you can learn how to fly a glider in the location that is once upon a time bridge split to Zagreb and split to Dubrovnik. There's the Ineos Grenadiers looking after the interests of Ben Turner. There's Michał Kwiatkowski, former world champion. You can see those rainbow stripes on the cuffs of his sleeves. Just in his wheel is Damiano Caruso of the Bahrain Victorious squad. He's back after fracturing his hand. He was due to race in the Vuelta a España after the team presentation, having signed on. Had an accident in the team hotel, fractured his hand, couldn't take to the start. It was Finlay Pickering who was a late caller, but great to see that Caruso, the Italian veteran, is back on the start line. There's the makeup of the Poggi team Gusto Ljubljana squad, Slovenian-based continental team. Alex Ius, as well as Nicholas Gojkovic. He's the Croatian road race champion. Doman Oblak, Ian Paran, who is in the breakaway. Jan Bredznik, as well as Oliver Sims and Dan Tomsic. They're looking really organised, the team in gold and black, and riding well together as a squad. Also, Vosta ATS team, the Polish registered team, they're looking good. They're a third division team, a continental team. Meanwhile, up towards the front, it's Jonas Koch, the 32-year-old German rider from Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. He's never won a pro race during his career. Not quite sure if he'll be staying with the team next year. There's been no communication as to whether Koch has got a new contract with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, but he's very much a rider who rides on the front, does a lot of work. Ineos Grenadiers with Artem Schmidt, the individual time trial champion of the USA. He's been contributing 50.2 kilometers to go, 2.5 minutes is the deficit for the peloton. Josef Cherny up towards the front, the rider from Soudal Quickstep in that blue, navy blue jersey. Okay, B&B Hotels up towards the front, looking after Zamporini and Swan Glau. Day at times, quite gusty as well. Around 16 kilometers per hour the wind. South westerly wind for the riders. Well, the 6 riders out front, they're working well together. This is the rider from Team United Shipping. This is Michal Schuren. The only rider that's won a pro race during their career from the breakaway is Diego Urate, who won a stage of the Ruta del Sol at the start of this year. Meanwhile, the other riders in that breakaway, they've never won a pro race, and they're putting up a good fight to try and hold off this chasing peloton. Peloton have been keeping them under wraps. They've been keeping them on a tight leash over the last 10-15 kilometers or so. Damiano Caruso with a high cadence, sitting alongside his teammate with Fran Miholjevic, the Croatian. There's Danny van Poppel, number 46, the Dutch champion of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, looking very comfortable, very calm. Take an opportunity, having been back to the team car, just to make his way forward, use the wheel of Michael Hepburn. Jaco Alula, and they've got Bob Donaldson, the 23-year-old rider from Manchester, Great Britain. He's a neo-pro, and he'll be looking for an opportunity today. Reinforcements arrive at the front for Soudal Quickstep. This looks as though it's Gelders. There's going to be a real change in the way that the race unfolds now, because the riders have been on a wide road, great road surface. The road surface doesn't change necessarily. What does change is the width of the road. They've gone from racing on this straight road, plenty of space for them all. 135 riders starting, 6 out front, 129 riders who are in this peloton, and it's going to start to get quite twisty. There's a few false flats, a little bit lumpy in places. There's a few pinch points as well, which is going to put the peloton under some pressure, because everybody's wanting to fight for their place on the road. They go through the third and final feed zone of today's stage. Number 81, that's Hugo Ansar. Number 74 at the back here is one of the riders from Caja Rural Seguros. This is Alex Molinar, the Dutch rider. He's resided in Spain. the north of Spain since he was a young child. His mother comes from Spain, and so he's very much of dual nationality, really. Team of Foster ATS, they've been given the green light to overtake the peloton at the moment to try and assist and feed the rider that they have in the breakaway, and that's Mateusz Konstancki, a 26-year-old Polish rider. The team made up of all Polish riders here. Tomasz Bodzinski is a fast rider, as well as Radoslaw Fracak, Peter Maslak, as well as Michał Zelazowski, Patrick Stosh. Meanwhile, they've got Konstancki in the breakaway. The Croatian rider, Ian Peran, the 19-year-old from Rijeka. Well, he's been ejected out of the front of the race from the breakaway, and he's being caught pretty rapidly by the peloton. Takes a look around, he's going to see his teammates who are all in a formation, around a third of the way down in the peloton. Team car of Foster ATS still trying to get themselves past the peloton, because Konstancki, whether he's got an issue, whether they just want to have a chat, whether he wants a feed. The thing is, in a race like this, there's only one team car allowed in the convoy. There's only one team car for each team, so they've got to make a big decision. Do they go and look after the rider in the breakaway, or do they look after the remaining riders who are in the peloton, just in case they have an issue? So for Foster ATS, they're trying to move their way forward. 21.8 kilometers to go. The riders are going to reach the top of this Category 3, King of the Mountain, in just less than 500 meters. Third category, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer for the first 3 riders across the top. Don't forget, the rider who took the points at the previous King of the Mountain was number 174, and that's the rider from Czechia, Michal Schuren, who picked up the 6 points. He'll be looking to try and add another 3 to his account. Diego Orate, not seemingly looking too interested. Now things start to get a little bit more cagey, and Schuren has one rider who's trying to follow, and that's the Dutchman Casper van der Woerther, and those two go clear, and it's a big challenge for the big points at the top of this Category 3 climb. They come shoulder to shoulder, head to head, a big throw for the line. Luckily there is a photo finish, because that was very close indeed. Here's the replay from the helicopter. Schuren having the upper hand. Oh, he just about gets there. A lunge and a throw to the line from van der Woerther, and I'm afraid the Dutchman didn't quite get there. The man from United Shipping, by the looks of things, took the 3 points in that classification, and he puts himself on 9 points in the King of the Mountains competition. And as long as he finishes the stage, he'll be making a trip to the podium, and he'll be leading the King of the Mountains classification. He'll be taking the green jersey home. There we get confirmation. Schuren taking the 3 points ahead of van der Woerther, with Konstancki taking the 1 remaining point. Well, no hanging around in the peloton. 6.9 kilometers to go. Things are starting to get a little bit ferocious as more riders and teams arrive at the front. Towards the back here, number 43, that's Jonas Koch. Just in front of him is Frederik van Daal. Great to see the Dane on his return to racing. He's only had a handful of races in the last couple of weeks after that awful crash and the injuries he sustained at the Tour of Hungary on stage 2. It's been a long road to recovery for the Dane. They go over the old bridge in hand coming from the Turkish word. This area occupied by the Romans, the Ottomans. 3 of the 5 riders are caught up. Ibanez, Arate, as well as Schuren. Konstanski, he can't hold on to this big move from the Dutchman. This is Casper van der Booth of Metek Solowat, who's got something left in the tank inside the final 6 kilometers. Despite being away for over 155 kilometers today, the Dutchman has got something left on this rise. This is certainly going to put a sting in the legs of some riders, and you can already start to see a few gaps open up, a few riders find themselves in difficulty. He's looking good, isn't he, Casper van der Booth? He's never won a pro race, and today he's putting up a big fight and a bid to try and win his first pro victory. The 25-year-old from Utrecht. He's opened up an advantage, and he's looking strong, he's looking powerful. Meanwhile, in the peloton, more riders start to move forward, reinforcements arrive. Well, it's been a valiant, good effort from Casper van der Booth in the breakaway for the majority of the day. He's caught with 3.6 kilometers to go, and the arrival of ATT Investments at the front in those navy blue jerseys. On the front, it's number 143, that's Budzinski. On his wheel is Newman. Behind him is Bogoslawski, the Polish rider who will be looking to try and sprint today. On his wheel is Pageur, and Danny van Poppel is tucked right in 5th place, the Dutch champion, who will be looking to try and take the stage victory into Sinj. On the far right side, it's UAE team Emirates XRG. They've got Rui Oliveira, who they'll be looking to try and deliver a stage victory to the Portuguese rider who's never won a pro race in his career. They also want to look after the interests of Brandon McNulty, who's the defending champion in the classification. Here's the arrival of Polti Visit Malta. They're looking after Giovanni Lenardi. He's finished 2nd here 1 year ago. Can he try and take all of that knowledge, that experience from last year and his result from 2 years ago into Sinj in the exact same finish, and try and use that to win today's stage? You're looking for the rider in a white, red and green jersey. Magnus Sheffield flicks the elbow, hands over to his teammate. They're looking after Ben Turner, a Grand Tour stage winner. Still is Pageur, the Estonian rider who's got Danny van Poppel in the wheel. Barring victorious, they move forward. They're looking after the 19-year-old Slovenian Zach Urshan. Watch out for him, he's got a great turn of speed on him. And meanwhile, Soudal Quickstep, where are they? Well, they've got one rider who sits in 2nd wheel, but where is Paul Magnier? Paul Magnier, the outright favourite for this stage, is sitting a little bit further back. He's boxed in on the right-hand side of the screen, the left-hand side of the road. But he's got Dries van Gestel with him. He's been the rider who's led into 4 stage victories out of 5 in the Tour of Slovakia. He's already had 5 victories in September alone, and now his teammate arrives towards the front. That's Gil Gelders, who has just opened the door. He's stretched things out, and that has enabled Paul Magnier to move forward and get out from the position on the left-hand side. He starts to move forward. Now it's Vlad van Mechelen, the Belgian rider, who gets on the front, number 26 in that white jersey for Bahrain Victorious. Here's the arrival of Lars van der Heide. Just on his wheel is Dries van Gestel. Paul Magnier taking the inside line. Alongside him is Michał Kwiatkowski, the former world champion, who's got Ben Turner in his wheel. Can they try and make a repeat of that stage victory into Vuitton in the Vuelta? Mirko Maestri, he takes a big flyer. He carries so much speed into this sweeping left and then right hand bend. A little shimmy shammy through the corner. He comes out first. Where is Giovanni Lenardi? Lenardi's a little bit further back. Ben Turner opens up on the right-hand side. Magnier with a big acceleration. He's got the upper hand. He's got some daylight, but Van Poppel's coming up quick. Wow. 6 victories in September for Paul Magnier. And on debut here at the race for the team and for Paul Magnier, it's Magnier who is the Knight of the Realm into Sinj. He wins stage 1 of the CRO Race and denies Van Poppel the win. The 21-year-old Frenchman wins convincingly, and he lets his teammates know about it immediately, straight on the radio.
Let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the winner number...
Lenardi looks as though he finished just off the podium in fourth. Well, no doubt about it, it's the stage winner, Paul Magnier, who wins into C. With it, the 10 bonus seconds, he leads the general classification. He'll be in the red jersey on stage 2. Not a bad start for Magnier, because he also leads the points classification, 25 points courtesy of that stage victory. He's got the blue jersey and leads after stage 1. After a day in the breakaway, Michal Schuren, the rider from Czechia of Team United Shipping, leads the King of the Mountain standings. Good day for him. And Paul Magnier leads the best young rider classification for the rider under 23. He's in white, and the children, well, they're awarded with a prize as well. Magnier giving them the flowers. Here's the standings. Paul Magnier wins the stage ahead of Van Poppel, Kogot and Lenardi and Turner, with Rui Oliveira in 6th. Gojkovic, the Croatian road race champion, rounding out the top 10.